All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Turner Bitten. I'm the chair of the Glendale Community Council. I just realized my video is not on. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. We're joined by the team that is working on the 900 South redesign. And so we're going to hear from folks at Salt Lake City and have any questions and comments that you have answered. If you're watching live on Facebook, if you want to put comments in the chat, I'll be sure to get to those. I'll also be posting a link to the Zoom if you'd like to join the Zoom and ask your question directly. But with that, I think we'll get started with Tom.
Hey everybody, Tom Millar, project manager for the transportation division for the 900 South Reconstruction project. And our team is also on the line. Josh Willies from our engineering division. He's the overall project manager of all project aspects. And then two members of our consultant team, Gene Klein and Kent Jorgensen, are leading design and public outreach. And then Leah Smith, also from our engineering division, is leading outreach from the city's side. So any comments that come in about the project, go to Kent and Leah, as well as to the rest of us, but those are the folks that you'll probably hear from and see day to day. So we're going to tell you more about this project and how you can get involved and what to expect over the next couple of years. I'm going to share my screen to get started, so give me just a second. There we go. All right. So let me tell you what's happening and why we're doing it. The 900 South project is about 3 miles long. It starts in the Glendale neighborhood at 9th West, and it goes 3 miles to the east and ends in the 9th and 9th neighborhood at Lincoln Street, which is about 945 east. And the reason why we're doing it is to make the street better. That's the basic reason for doing it. And we're going to talk about all of the elements of the project and how we're going to make it better and what that means for your day-to-day. But first, I wanted to start off with this slide so that you have, first and foremost, the website where you can find out more information, which we update all the time. Email, so that you can message us comments, questions, get involved, sign up for the regular project emails, either in English or in Spanish, and you can see both of those there. And then we have our hotline as well as my direct number if you have any questions and you just want to get a hold of me. That's also right there. So here's a visual overview of the land on the south side. Now, another great thing about Glendale is that it has already had a lot of investment in the 9-line trail and other supporting facilities on the south side of 900 South. You have the 9-line bike park, the community garden, and the trail itself, not to mention a community orchard that has been approved for implementation just to the west. You have the 9th South constructed wetland that's there by the Jordan River, as well as the Jordan River, the Fife Wetland Park, and then the improvements to the 9-line that went in west of the river last year. So a lot of investment already, but we're hoping that this project can kind of put the cherry on top. Some of the history of the project: we want to make sure that the 9-line trail extends all the way across the city, east to west. And right now it already connects the west side to itself, but it doesn't do a super good job of connecting the west side to the east side and vice versa. So with this project, we're going to continue the trail from where it ends right now at the 9-line bike park all the way east to tie into the part of the trail that we built 2 years ago that starts at Lincoln Street and goes up the hill near the roundabout, the Whale Gnome roundabout, just to orient you. And then we have other sections of the trail that have been built in the past and that are going to be continuing to be built in the future, east of that, all the way up to Immigration Canyon. So if you're feeling real strong one Saturday and you really want to ride your bike a long distance, once this project is complete, you'll be able to ride from about Redwood Road all the way up to Immigration Canyon and back without really interacting with too many cars, because the trail is going to be not in the road, but it'll be above the curb in the park strip. So along with the trail, there will also be new crosswalks and trail crossings on the south side, new crosswalks going north and south across 900 South, More park strip landscaping, a lot more park strip landscaping, as well as improved UTA bus stops for the Route 9, which runs from 3rd West to the east. So outside of the Glendale neighborhood, but still pertinent to those that are going to be riding their bike to Central 9th and then hopping on tracks or hopping on the bus. Some other improvements, in addition to the trail, we're going to be doing what's called a mill and overlay, where we do a partial depth reconstruction of the street. We go down a few inches, and then we put back brand new asphalt so that it's in real nice shape and lasts for another 10 or 15 years. Outside of Glendale, we'll be changing from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 lane in each direction so that people can have the benefits of what Glendale has on its 9th South. Where we're moving the curb to the north in order to put the 9-line trail in, we'll be putting a new curb and gutter as well. And then there will be some landscaping and other improvements in the Central 9th area around the track stop. Underground, there will be a new water line from West Temple to State Street. That's in the Ballpark neighborhood. Some other improvements, as well as those overhead power line changes also in the Central 9th area around that track stop. We're also looking at doing some storm drainage improvements in the Glendale neighborhood so that we can better collect and filter and clean the water that falls and then hits the road and then comes off of the road, so that we don't have dirty water going into our drains and then going into the Jordan River. We want to clean it on site before it even makes its way into the pipe. So we're hoping to do some of those improvements as part of this project as well. I want to tell you a little bit about some parking studies that we've been doing. So we counted over several days parking in every possible parking spot for the entire length of this project, all 3 miles on 900 South. And we looked at who's parking there, for how long, at what times of the day, and we did it from 7 a.m. all the way to midnight on several days. And that helped us not only to understand where there was the greatest demand for parking and where we maybe needed some better parking management, but also where there wasn't as much demand for parking and we could do things like move the curb even further and get rid of a few parking spaces in order to add more green space or to have a better trail or a better crosswalk. And so that really helped us to have really good data on the decisions that we were making, rather than just making them in, on a hope and a prayer, saying, oh, I hope this works out. I hope nobody wants to park here. So we had really good data as we went into that. And then again, this is an overview of where the project is. That's really in orange, that orange line where the project is. So the proposed benefits, as I stated at the beginning, we will have a complete street, a much better street, a place for people rather than just a place for cars. Slower speeds, probably less traffic in some sections of 900 South where we are reducing the overall capacity and then encouraging some people to use 800 South instead. We'll have 2.5 miles of new 9-line trail east of I-15 connecting into the 9-line trail west of I-15. Better crossings, more visible, comfortable, safe transit stops east of 3rd West, more green space, pavement life will be extended, safer and slower turns by adding a center turn lane, as well as improving the right turn lanes at intersections, updating the utilities where possible, and then having more efficient and cleaner stormwater infrastructure. A lot of great benefits for a pretty cool, big project. So with changes to the roadway, we want to make it as narrow as we can, but not too narrow. We want to make it so that people drive the right speed. They drive the speed limit or lower. And we want to make it easier, safer to cross the street as well, so you don't have as long of a crosswalk. And so right now, about 50% of the whole right-of-way, that's kind of between sidewalk and sidewalk or property line and property line, about 50% of that space is just asphalt for cars. And we really don't see enough cars to dedicate that much space to them. So in the future, with this future design, we'll probably only see about 30 to 40% of the entire public right-of-way dedicated to roadway. And that's a significant change because it not only slows traffic, as we've mentioned, but it means that there's less pavement to maintain in the future, which means that our pavement maintenance budgets don't have to stretch as far and cover as many square feet. But there will still be plenty of room left on 900 South in order to handle the existing traffic that is on 900 South. We will not be making it, overly congested or a terrible place to drive or to live. So especially in the Glendale neighborhood where you already have most of these changes included in the design that's already out there. So here's our project timeline. Basically right now we're right there in the middle, spring, summer 2021. So over the last year, we've been doing budgeting, planning, designing, outreach, and we've begun construction on phase 1 this year. And then we intend to begin construction on phase 2, which is 9th West to 3rd West and West Temple to Lincoln Street, about 9th East, next year. And that'll take about 2 years. Now I'm going to kick it over to Josh so that he can talk about some of the impacts, but an important thing to keep in mind is that there will never be a time when the entire 3 miles of the street are under construction at one time. So even though we say that it's going to be a 2 to 3 year project, that does not necessarily mean that the street in front of your house is going to be dug up and under construction for all 3 years. So Josh, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, as Tom was saying, just due to the size and complexity of this project, we've decided to split construction into 2 phases. The first phase, as you've seen out there, is under construction right now. We have Granite Construction as the contractor that won the bid on that project, and they're out there going to work. And that project will wrap up next year. And then phase 2, we are completing the design plans for that right now. We're planning on bidding that out this winter, and construction on that will start in the spring and then run for 2 years until the end of 2023. So the 2 projects are going to be bid separately, and but the timing will overlap between the 2. And so some things that we're doing to try to minimize the impact to the public is keeping a consistent project team from the city side of it through the 2 phases of the project, as well as we have the Lochner team on board to help with civic engagement, and they will help with that process during both phases of construction as well, so that the public will have one source that they can go to, one continuous source through both phases of construction that they can go to get answers and resolve issues and things like that. Let's see. So a lot of that, a lot of those opportunities for outreach and locations to receive information on the project that Tom showed on the first slide of this presentation, those will be the same points of contact for you throughout both phases of construction, throughout the full 3 years of construction that we're doing out there. So yeah, I just want to emphasize, how important it is to just get this information down. We'll be updating the website with construction updates as well as updates to the design as we're completing design on phase 2. This email address will stay the same through the full construction timeline. So we'll be sending out updates to the through that email chain. So if you're interested in receiving those, get a part of that. And we're keeping a list of everybody that wants to receive those updates, those email updates periodically throughout construction, and keeping the same hotline available to the public as well. Along with that, we're doing some additional things to try to support businesses during construction. We know how difficult construction can be on local small businesses, especially coming out of the pandemic, and I guess I shouldn't say coming out, but still trying to work through the pandemic and the difficulties that arises. So there's some additional things that our outreach team is doing to try to help support small businesses with additional some A-frames, some additional signs along the corridor to help direct patrons to small businesses, things like that, just to try to support the public as much as we can while we all kind of suffer through this construction together. And like Tom said, we're working with our contractors so that the entire corridor won't be tore up during those full 3 years. We'll have them focus on certain areas as they kind of march along the corridor to complete construction.
Thanks, Josh. So here again is the contact information, website, email, and phone. You can get a hold of us anyway, and we'll respond to you quickly. And then before we take questions, I just wanted to say two things and show you one thing. The project currently has a pretty big budget, but it still has a budget shortfall, meaning we don't have all of the money that we need in order to construct it next year. The 9-line trail funding and the roadway improvement bond did not take us as far as we thought it would, and we had some kind of surprise inflation costs as well, as many people have over the last year. So the city right now is evaluating any viable options that we have for additional funding, and once the city has clarity on how we're going to move forward, we will keep the 900 South community and the Glendale community completely informed so that you guys know if there are any changes in schedule or design or anything like that, any changes that would affect you, we will let you know once we have those decided, and that will probably be here before the end of the year so that you have some time still to prepare for any of the changes that might be different than what we're about to show you. And then the one thing I wanted to show you before we take questions was what you can see on the website. And we'd encourage you to go to the website and take a look at this design. And if you have comments to email us. Right now, we are moving forward with the final design. So make sure you take a look at this very quickly within the next week or two and send us any urgent comments that you have and reach out with any ideas that you have either for this project or for the future as well. So let me show you what you can see online if you go to 900southslc.com. This is what you'll see. A cool virtual open house that looks like we're all hanging out in a stuffy room at the city offices, laboring over some plans on a table, but you don't have to listen to us or smell our breath. So this is the entire project, east to west. You can see Liberty Park over here. You can see the West Temple ramp here, I-15 here, and you can zoom in on any part that you want. So I encourage you not only to look at the Glendale area, but to look at any area that interests you on 900 South. But let's look at Glendale just for the sake of this meeting. So if you click on 900 West to 700 West, it brings up this design. Now you can zoom in on this design. You can click these icons to find out more about it. If you're a little bit intimidated by that, you can click on this 2D design view, and that will just bring up this, which you can enter full screen. You can change the control mode on that. So this is kind of what we're looking at. Bike park is here. Community garden is here. And this is 9th West. This is the barber shop and the panaderia, and then the river just to the west of this. So this includes quite a bit more green space here to add to the green space that already exists around the sidewalk and the 9-line trail and the beautiful landscaping that the Fifes maintain. Over here, also some additional landscaping, which means a narrowing of the road. So we still have the same capacity in having a lane in each direction and the center turn lane, but we don't have all of the excess pavement that contributes to people driving really fast. In addition to that, at 9th West, 8th West, and 7th West, we have crosswalks to get across the street, which are shorter, more frequent, and will help to connect people north and south and east and west much better than we do today. So we invite you to go to 900 South SLC, take a look at the design, also learn more about parking, about the project schedule, about benefits, and about project background. And we'll keep this up basically until we have updates, and then we'll update it. So at any time you can come in here and see what we're working on and provide a comment, either send us an email, or if this comment form is still live at the time that you come onto the website, we'd love to hear from you. So with that, Turner, I'll turn it back over to you for any questions.
All right. So we'll start with folks here on the Zoom. So if anybody has a question and you're here on Zoom, if you would just raise your hand or even just private chat me and let me know that you have a question. I know that we covered this, but I just want to put a fine point on it really quickly. Can you just talk through the timeline just one more time? Just let folks know kind of what's next and what that timeline looks like.
Yeah, pretty easy. Over the next 4 months, we'll be finalizing design, and then we will select a contractor, and then that contractor will begin to work somewhere along the 900 South corridor, beginning in the spring of 2022. Now, that may mean that they start in Glendale spring of 2022. It may mean that they don't start in Glendale until 2023, perhaps. But when we know that information about the phasing and the timing, that's when we'll come back out to everybody, let them know where we'll be and when we'll be there, and to keep them informed as the project gets a little bit more refined. But right now we don't know because we haven't selected a contractor yet.
Great, thank you. I am not seeing anybody here on the Zoom with questions. We did have one question from Jessica online. You had already covered this, but I'd like to just have you talk about it again. You've mentioned that the construction would last about 3 years. That's not going to mean that someone's home, the front of someone's home is tore up for 3 years, correct?
That's correct. So phase 1, which is just in the central 9th area between 3rd West and West Temple, is currently under construction, and we started last month. So really we just mean 3 construction seasons. So this is the first construction season. Next year will be the second, and then 2023 will be the third. So really the rest of the project that concerns Glendale will just be at some point over the next 2 years from now going forward. But again, not for the entire 2 years, and definitely not the entire street torn up for 3 years.
Perfect. We have one other question online from Ryan, and he asked if this ties in to the sewer reconstruction that's happening on 800 West right now, or if they're completely separate projects.
They are separate projects because the Public Utilities Department has basically different funding to do projects than the Transportation and Engineering divisions do. However, we're really glad that that is going in before our project so that we're not on top of each other during construction. There will be, and Josh may be able to speak to this, there will be another street construction project that's happening on 8th West to follow up on that sewer project. So I'll turn it over to him to talk about that.
Yeah, we will be rebuilding 800 West between 6th South and 9th South next year. So that is currently under design, and it'll be bid out this winter with construction to begin in the springtime. But it is a separate project from this 900 South project. We have a different design team and outreach, different engagement, things that are happening along with that one. But yeah, we will come in and rebuild that road next year.
Thank you. So we got another question online from Sarah, and she asked, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So how do you envision these changes affecting pedestrian and car traffic? And then are there new business developments tied to this street development?
That's a good question. Yeah, we anticipate that the design of the roadway will reduce the speed of motor vehicle traffic. It will also make it easier to turn left onto and off of 900 South. And for pedestrians, it will make it easier to cross 900 South and to walk east and west if you're on 900 South. So I would say, yeah, 0 downsides and all upsides for every user. And that's really our purpose with all of these reconstruction projects, is to put the street back, not just how we found it, but better, so that it's easier and a more equitable space for everybody to use, not just dominated by one mode of transportation.
Thank you. I am not seeing other questions on Facebook. Does anybody here on the Zoom have any questions? This will be kind of a last call for questions. There was a question about 800 West. What's being planned on there? I think what we'll do, we'll wait until you're a little further along in that process. And we'll have you come to a conversation about 800 West on its own so that folks can see that when we're a little bit further along.
Thanks, Turner.
Thanks. I'm not seeing any other questions. So unless anyone has any final burning questions, I'd ask Tom if you would just put back up that contact screen, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the Zoom with that as our kind of ending call to action. So I'd encourage folks to go to 900southslc.com. I did the virtual open house, and it's such a fun and engaging way of kind of playing around with projects like this. So I definitely encourage everyone to do that. And then this is the contact information for staying involved in this project. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the live stream. Thank you, Tom, and everyone.
Thank you.